One of Springfield's longest-running entertainment properties celebrates 10 years on Saturday, November 21st, when New Midwest Wrestling presents November Rain, the most action-packed, hard-hitting event of the year. Join Central Illinois' past, present, and future superstars at Lanphier High School on 11th and North Grand. For ticket information, go to newmidwest.com or call 816-2112, live November 21st at Lanphier High School.
It started out with you two in Chicago.
It started at the Asylum Coffee House, which is no longer in existence.
Really? Don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't think that place opened yet.
No, that's when Justin and I first talked about wrestling. Because we had met previously at Perkins, but I was drunk.
That's when we went underwater basket weaving.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
You're totally wrong story.
Good.
That had twins involved. Justin approached me at the Asylum Coffee House, said, hey, I hooked up with these guys on the internet that do wrestling training. Would you be interested in going? Sure, why not? And we went, and that started the whole thing.
That would have been LWF, right?
LWF in Chicago.
With Mr. CM Punk. At the time was Cone.
Douche. No.
Cool. Not at all.
Not at all. He's a great guy.
So, but you guys went up there for a whole weekend, though, right?
Went there quite a few times.
I skipped prom.
Yeah, our first time up there.
Prom?
Yeah, we slept. The first time up there, we slept in the ring, which sucked.
Which was
balls.
probably diseased.
Oh yeah, I mean you've got a picture.
Probably actually where the swine flu started.
LWF at the time was like GAW with a building. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I mean, they had a small training school, which I mean, at the time, Justin and I were looking at it with these big giant doe eyes, but now looking back.
And they had a bathroom with porno pictures all over the
Anyway, you could not see the wall. It was porn. It was porn from ceiling to floor.
I was 18 years old.
And they did training on like Wednesdays, and they let like a free for all on Saturdays. Blah 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 blah. Moving forward, keeping this moving along, and we work with them. And Justin had brought up the idea. Why don't we do this in Springfield and bring guys to us? Because it would actually be cheaper. We thought. I mean, we thought it would.
I'm really smart.
It made sense.
He kicked the lights.
Yeah.
On a moonsault.
It made sense. Let's bring a ring here. We won't have to drive to Chicago all the time and rent hotel rooms.
Yeah, I did.
And the whole bit. So,
but that idea lay dormant for what, a year?
I don't know if it was a year or...
I don't know how long it was.
Because that's
we went up there a couple of times. I went up there a couple of times without you, and I did the security at the show. Yeah, I did security.
Son of a...
I know, I cheated on you. I'm amazing.
I didn't know that.
Well, how long did it last before we all went to Raw in '99?
We had already decided when we went to Raw that we were going to do this.
Right.
Yeah, you hadn't fully decided. There had been a lot of talk about
it. We decided. We didn't have a way to do it, but we decided we were doing it.
Well, the pieces started to fall together.
In that case, we've decided a lot of things over the years.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, the pieces really started to fall together in my mind when we were on the way back from Raw that night in '99.
That was
You're right.
That was
the birth canal, the whole deal.
No more excuses. We've got to figure out how to do this.
Right, because that was the first night I met Justin. I met you.
No, you met me.
I had met you once. I had known.
That's the first time. That's the first time we hung out.
Yeah.
Right, that was the first time we hung out.
And
you
guys then contemplated if Captain Caveman was capable of multiple orgasms.
And he was.
That's roughly. That was
That
Jason.
was about the same time.
That was probably the conversation on the way back. For real, it probably was.
I remember the conversation on the way back, and I don't want to talk about it on camera.
Yeah.
Me and Rob met at Perkins because I have a very large friend, Brent. He's a good-sized person. And Rob proclaimed one night, after riding in on his red freaking rice rocket with his red helmet and his red cell phone, fanny pack,
Nokia.
Fanny pack.
Oh, yeah. Me. Rod came in
baby.
drunk one night and said, somebody was yelling at him because he's being too loud. He's like, "Are you kidding me? I'm bigger than everybody in here." And Brett goes, "No, you can't." And he's like, "You got a point." So that's how I met Rob. And I knew John from the mall. I worked at the mall. I knew Jason from the mall.
Yep.
Other Jason was homeless at the time, so he drank wine out of the box and stuff. So I didn't know this guy. But
When I
you guys
first
knew each other.
Right. Jason and I went to school together. We went to grade school and high school together. So we've known each other for many years. And when we all got together, we started. He at the time and his friends, which included Chad Hughes and a few other people, were actually wrestling in another friend's house, doing backyard wrestling. And we all got involved doing that. So we'd go and wrestle in the living room just for giggles for the most part.
Yeah, when I met Duvall, Rob came into the store one time where Jason worked, and we just kind of hit it off. You know, we like to wrestle. You know, no biggie. Didn't think nothing of it. So we got together, beat the crap out of each other.
August 9th, 1999 was the Raw that we minus Jason went to.
Really?
I remember that. That was the night that.
Where was it at?
It was in Chicago. It was the
Rosemont?
Rosemont.
We
It was
had a
the night-
sign that said Eyebrow 316.
Yeah, that was the night Chris Jericho made his debut in the WWF.
Jesse Ventura.
Was there for SummerSlam that year, promoting it.
He was a referee,
And
wasn't
it
he?
was the four of us in LPC.
And LPC.
Yeah,
yep.
LPC.
Luke
Undertaker
was there.
gave a choke slam to China.
Yep.
Yeah, crowd
Remember that
booed.
show?
And John Leonard ate Tabasco flavored Slim Jims, which comes into the story later on.
Yes,
does.
yes, he did.
Every time I get the chance.
If it wasn't for Tabasco flavored Slim Jims, New Midwest would have never existed.
I don't know about that, but I went into a black bathroom and puked everywhere.
We are not
in-
even to the point of buying the ring yet, and he's already looking at his watch.
Okay, so we bought a ring.
Well, let's put it this way. We decided after many meetings to actually purchase at Perkins and Steak and Shake to purchase a ring, and the cheapest ring we could find was in.
Who was it? Steve Hughes?
No, it was anyway. Really nice guy. We bought a lot of extra ring stuff from him later on. We bought a ring.
The ring we bought actually was an old Memphis Championship Wrestling ring.
Yeah, with old WCW matting.
Yep.
And it sucked balls.
Yeah. And it cost us about $850 a piece.
Yeah.
We
if I remember correctly.
were almost afraid to hit the ropes because the ropes aren't some big bouncy thing that you see. They're actually elevator cable.
Yeah.
Like almost
And it
like
sucked.
cane
It sucked
that
balls.
you hit off of.
He only
We
sold us
had
three
marks on
turnbuckles
our
that
backs.
actually tightened it.
Yeah.
The WCW padding didn't cover the entire 18 square foot of the ring.
So you had like
we
3
had to
inches
get
on the edge.
different padding. It was all.
It was carpet padding.
It was all. Yeah, we bought carpet
put
padding.
carpet padding on there. It was
Nasty.
canvas carpet padding wood.
It was the fanciest backyard
Yeah.
in the history
No
of
question.
backyard.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have been happier because it was all that much
Yes.
closer
Yes.
to making our dream come true.
That is
Just
true.
having a ring and being able to wrestle.
We had more injuries that first year than we probably ever
Well,
had.
the first night we had the ring was the night before this one's wedding.
Oh, yeah.
And
First one.
first wedding, mind you. And
Redhead.
during the wedding, Rob and I were ushers, and all of us were ridiculously sore because half of us hadn't been in a ring before, and these two hadn't been in a ring in a while. And we decided we're going to play in the ring till 3 in the morning,
And we did.
and we did. And paid for it the next day because you couldn't move. It was like Rob was walking around going, "Oh God, bride or groom, this
They
way."
actually showed up to my rehearsal, and Rob looked like he had just wrestled a pit. He was so covered in dirt.
So he went out the night before to pick somebody up.
Exactly. And they both stunk. And they're like, "Hey, we're here!" It was 40 minutes into it.
What was amazing at the time was here was 5 guys that took something they wanted to do and took a dream and come hell or high water, scratched the money together, and it was a lot of money for all of us at the time. I mean, you're talking $850 a piece.
I was 19.
Yeah, Justin was
just
19.
got married.
Yeah, I mean, I was 20.
Oh, dude, no, you have no idea.
We'll get into that later.
I tried to tell him.
That just
Sure you did.
I did.
You're a good friend.
Everybody else had the money, come up with it. I mean, we were doing the backyard thing.
Jason got a
everything
loan.
else. And I had come up with this awesome idea from the gods somewhere. I was like, oh, I could take out a loan, and
Was it $5,000?
No, it wasn't that much. I wouldn't have it paid off today. God, you know where I work at? That we're not telling.
Yeah.
And
I'll see you there tomorrow.
French dressing.
God, I'm gonna dip my
And
balls in.
just took out a loan, and I called Rip, and he said, "Oh, congratulations, dude! You're an owner."
I remember getting that because the original idea was the four of us in LPC.
Yep.
And
Luke couldn't come up with the money.
he couldn't come up with the money or whatever reason, and we were left short and trying to find some other way to get that fifth portion. And we got that call that McAlexander might be looking for it, and he might be able to find it, and none of us could get bank loans if our lives depended on it, you know. So we didn't know what his chances were, but we knew he was going in, and we got that call, and they had approved that loan, and it was like a New Year's celebration or something.
Yeah.
And
It was like the ball had just dropped.
Yeah, and it very
You
much
know?
was. It was like, it was a celebratory moment in all of our lives because here we were like, holy crap, we're going to get a wrestling ring. You know, we finally have enough money to get the ring and get it here, which was a big deal.
We got the place we rented was the old Dower Cinema at Capital
Capital City
Shopping
Cinema.
And sorry, Johnny Movie Place. Anyway, that's where we learned how to do this. Kind of. I mean, we kind of learned how to.
We learned how to run up a massive heating bill.
that is
Nowhere close to Stockyard.
Yeah, no crap.
But
in
but
fact.
go on though. That's where we started to learn exactly what the hell we were doing.
we learned that you couldn't just put a ring in a building and not have to pay any more money after that.
Right.
We learned it cost more money that we didn't have.
So we had all kinds of people coming in there to train with us, and none of us knew what we were doing.
Absolutely.
Rob was a gymnast.
That was it.
That's all we had.
And I would say
And you guys
when
had
they
a
walked
couple
in
of
the door.
weeks of trips to
we had
LWF.
we had LWF.
I went up there 4
LWF,
times.
yeah.
We went up there twice together.
We
I
knew
got
how
the
to
ring
bump
3 times.
and we knew how to hit
And
We
run the
kind of
ropes.
knew how to
and
bump.
run the rope.
I didn't know how to bump.
And you had the thing that Central Illinois Wrestling has been missing for the 9 years since you started training, pretty much, and that's common sense.
Oh,
Yes,
common sense.
Somewhat.
To be perfectly honest, we started everything, mainly I will say him, because not only did we have a passion for wrestling, and not only did we want to, learn our craft, but we wanted to have something that would keep kids off the streets, give an activity to, those that are less fortunate, and be able to pass on the things that we ourselves had learned as far as an education in pro wrestling. I would say, he was the main, Rip Mystic, I will say, was the main driving force as far as financially and keeping this thing going.
Oh, and charismatically too. I mean,
Yeah,
not to interrupt,
yeah.
but I mean, it
Very
never,
much so.
it never would have got out.
We were all
never would have.
No, we were all younger. I mean, Rob was the oldest one in the gym at the time, and literally, a lot of us.
Still is.
I mean, a lot of us looked up to him like a brother. I mean, literally, he was the brother a lot of us never had or wish we'd had, or a father figure, especially to a lot of the younger kids that were coming in at the time to the gym
Oh, God, here
to
come
train,
shots.
to help out, all that stuff. He was the end all, say all, be all of the gym. I mean, you did what Rob said, and that was it.
Going along with that though too, and what Jason said, back then to get a wrestling education literally cost $5,000 minimum. A good wrestling education where you were going to get contacts and actually, hey, I'm a pro wrestler, I'd like to get booked, was going to cost minimum $5,000.
And to specify that, that's not a cost, that's a gamble.
Yeah, that's
you
a
pay
huge
$5,000
gamble.
up front, and if you can make it through some training, and if someone notices you and feels like, you know, moving your name along, maybe. But most of the people who did it were just handing $5,000 away and getting nothing.
What we told guys was, hey, you can pay $30 a month and train with the guys like us and the guys that we're going to bring in here and try your gamble that way. Aside from the fact, I know Justin personally and Jason, I can't speak for Jason and John here, these guys were told just like me, you guys are stupid, you guys are retarded, no one will ever pay one dime to see you guys wrestle.
And we weren't told that once. We were told that
multiple
a ton
times.
Of times.
You don't have to bleep
that
it
goes
out.
back
That is a direct quote.
Direct. And we were bound and determined to stick it up their.
And you got to think, we were young. We were like, screw these guys, piss on it all. We're going to show you that we may not be the smartest, we may not be the strongest, but I guarantee you that we have the most will, the most determination, and the most heart to pull this off.
And we had seen pro wrestling shows independently as well, and I know I thought to myself, I can do that right now without any training, and I'm better than those guys.
Yeah.
And these guys had 150 people show up. I know I can do that. I might not be as good as Bret Hart or Jake the Snake or whoever else, but I know I can do that. I know I can.
For the majority of the time that we were in the theater, I'd say till probably about the last 5 months.
You just got to be good enough to beat somebody for 3 seconds.
If you were coming to see wrestling, there was one reason to show up, and it was that guy. Because the rest of us had no idea, and none of us were athletes.
Well, we were entertaining. That was the thing. We were throwing free shows.
I disagree.
And it was free. It was fun and it was free.
I disagree.
Like
it was fun. It was entertaining. God, we all sucked. We all sucked. You know, the thing about me was, again,
I thought I was a Hardy Boy for a long time.
I was a gymnast. You know, I could do things back then that were unheard of. You know, moonsaults, 450s, the whole bit. That kind of stuff was very rare then.
The kind of stuff that ruins your back.
The kind of stuff that ruins your back.
Oh, it all ruins your back, brother.
Hello, it all ruins your back. But I mean, guys would show up and have fun with it, and that's what it was supposed to be, fun.
And you know, a lot of these guys that are still with the company, you know, Spotlight, Spencer Powers, Guy Smith, a lot of these guys started coming to the free shows and started watching. And as they watched these shows, they started to want to participate in these shows. And the roster started to grow and grow and grow. And, you know, it was one of those really amazing coincidences where we were throwing weekly shows for free, and we were pulling 70, 80 people a show for free, mind you, every Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, that was our training show. We trained throughout the week, but that was our training show, and we were pulling in more people than most independent feds were at the time.
That was by word of mouth.
By word of
Yeah,
mouth.
absolutely it was.
We didn't do any promotion.
But again, to ground this a little bit, there was lighting rigs above our ring.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was music. There were smoke machines, which I hated. I mean, all that, seriously. I mean, we were marks, whatever, but we were doing it.
Yeah.
That guy wrestled. The rest of us fell over in the ring and talked into a flashlight for a microphone. But there was lighting. There was story. There was all this. I mean, we all kind of, we can book and stuff.
Justin
We're
will
really
downplay
smart.
his role, but there wasn't just me doing flips. There was comedy by some of these guys. There was, you know, brawling by some of these guys. There was high flying stuff that, you know, his brother Daniel could do that I wouldn't do because I knew it was too dangerous.
It's just ridiculous.
And he would go
stuff.
out there and do it because, hey, look at me, I'm a wrestler, and he'd go out and do it. Not that I condone that sort of behavior now that I'm 32 years old.
And if you think about it, though, this was all for free. None of us were getting paid to do this.
And the thing is,
32, 10 years ago.
all right,
Fair enough.
The thing is,
Not a lot.
we wanted to learn it. The thing is, we wanted to learn it and do it right before we made people
Pay.
Before we
Pay for our
advertised.
shows, before
Right.
we advertised.
That was the deal.
You know, and that was our big thing because we had a passion for it. We wanted to learn it. We wanted to learn our craft. We wanted to pick up whatever we could learn from anybody else.
Sponges.
And they were free to join. Sponges.
No question. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyone he was in the ring with, this is gay, but whatever. I mean, anyone he was in the ring with, he could get anybody over. It didn't matter.
Are you
because
right
he's
now?
an athlete. I mean, the rest of us were half athletes, and that's it.
That's the difference because he had
But
a
Rob,
natural.
if you put a microphone in his face, he'd be better off eating it.
Yeah. Or a flashlight. He would very much be better off eating it.
No question.
That's when Tom Larson came into play.
No.
No, it did. It did. And what he's trying to say is, you know, we had a knack for finding guys, their strong points, and hiding what they couldn't do well. And that's when we came, you know, Daniel and Jason were the same way. Those guys were very entertaining wrestling-wise, but couldn't speak a lick. Daniel, we all remember what happened when Daniel tried to cut a promo.
Yeah.
We all died.
It was a disaster.
Okay, but when you put him in the ring, and especially with a guy that knew what he was doing, you could get a great match out of him.
Here-
you know, but that's what we were good at. We would find people's staples and stick with that.
Here's the biggest thing, and the thing we had going for us in the very beginning was the amount of actual raw talent that we had accumulated. When we had so much talent, the fact that you had Rob and Justin who could deconstruct and reconstruct the match. You had Jason and his brother Daniel who had studied every Japanese and Mexican wrestling tape and actually
In existence.
in existence, not to mention every import wrestling game that had ever come out to that
No
point.
question. Painful going to the
Painfully,
house.
and could actually teach you how to do literally any move known to man.
Yeah.
Literally.
You couldn't leave the McAlexander house without watching 6 hours of some footage.
Yeah. I mean, literally, we had so much talent invested at that point with so many different moves and so many different minds who understood what wrestling was about that it was. All these people were telling us that we couldn't actually succeed, and then suddenly we had all this talent that was proving them wrong that yes, we probably will be able to succeed. We're going to be able to take this and show you that we can do so much more than you ever will give us credit for.
It wasn't just tapes, and it was, I mean, part of it was natural. I mean, again, not to toot horns for anybody sitting here, but you've got the sexy, incredible Tom Larson, who, you know, no, seriously, in all seriousness, the people that we brought down to help us along, you know, with Windy City Pro Wrestling and, you know, between Les Thatcher and Shark Boy and the Heartland Boy, you know, that whole
Big man.
debacle. Who, big man? Who,
Thanks,
what?
Shard. Pete Madden.
Pete Madden.
We'll get there.
Pete
Good job.
Madden, who helped Michael Shard an incredible amount. It wasn't just watching tapes or having clinics or any of that stuff, you know, but I was huge safety anal about everything because it was our insurance on the line and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, anything that you should do 5 or 6 times before you should do it in a show, I would make the guys do 30 times because I was scared of getting sued. So, you know, I mean,
And you got to think, we were
the guys,
we had
I
kids
told
that
you,
were
I told
17
you,
or 18-year-old in the ring.
yeah,
So
guy,
Rob
you
was
know,
extremely anal.
I told you in
Extremely.
the interview you and I did, we did our first paid show 6 months after we should have done it. I mean, that's how long it took us to get to that first paid show because I was just so anal retentive. And it was Justin who said, you know, there's always going to be one more thing.
Yeah.
We're never going to have a real paid show. There's always going to be one more thing to
And
do.
it was literally 2 years after we opened our doors.
Yeah, finally we did.
We did our
you know.
first paid show.
2.5. 2.5. Yeah, I mean, it took forever.
How many
like
real good fights were there among
How many real good fights?
I will say,
Okay.
are you talking professionally?
Are you
the
talking
ring?
personally?
Are you talking
Personally.
wrestling matches or personally?
well, I mean, we're talking about the growth of the Midwest, so we're kind of talking about the business part and the personal life.
I know the Stockyard days.
I spit in his pizza even though I do not work at a
The
pizza
Stockyard
place.
days,
I'm a pro wrestler.
built us to the point where we're ready for that first show. And that's where we're doing regular shows every Saturday for free still, pulling, anywhere from 70 to 100 people every Saturday.
By word of mouth again.
By word of mouth alone. And prepping ourselves to do, like I said, the real paid shows. I mean, those were where we found our niche, found our storylines, found our characters, and everything it takes to advertise and say, hey, this is worth your whatever we charge at the time. I don't remember what we charge for
At
tickets.
Stockyard?
No. When we finally did that first show, it was like $5.
$7 and $10, or $5 and $10.
$5 advance, like
7 at the door.
7 or 8 at the door. I mean,
for the first show.
I mean that prepped us, and that's where we had Les Thatcher and Shark Boy and the Heartland guys come in and really work with us. But
yeah,
I mean, those were for me. Those were the glory days, because those were the days. Like if I was going to start a promotion tomorrow, it'd be at Stockyard Road, and we do shows every Saturday for free. Word of mouth only.
The crazy thing is that the years in Stockyard really started our building problems at the time. Was the fact that that's when we really started dealing with issues, because
that didn't start.
But it did though, because Stockyard was the year, was the episode where the Illinois Times did a story on us, and the guy writing the story decided to include and plus the story a little bit, and talk about how we used burn barrels to heat the gym when we didn't. We had burn barrels in the gym, but they were trash barrels at the time. And this guy saying this in the Illinois Times had the fire chief called out to this building, and basically the fire chief condemned the building for the most part and cost us a home.
That sucked. And that was one of my quotes. That was as a joke, obviously, but it got definitely misquoted. But that wasn't the start of it. That was like
Congratulations.
in the middle of all of it. But I mean, when you're 5 young guys, you don't think about rent and insurance.
You don't think about viewing the stories before
viewing
they're
the
printed.
stories. You don't think about consequences of your actions. All you want to do is put on a wrestling show and have people pay.
Yep.
And that's the road we were trying to be on, and we ran into all these insurance, and we had terrible referees at the time, terrible workers, Spotlight Sensor Powers.
Horrible heating bills.
No, seriously though. I mean,
$500
pythons.
you don't think about that kind of stuff.
That dog ate a couch.
Yeah, I had a dog that ate a couch.
His dog ate a couch.
My dog did eat a couch.
The thing is, python or
The thing
I don't
is that
think
no
so.
matter
Couldn't get up the ladder.
no matter what obstacles we hit, we overcame.
Yeah, we absolutely. We always overcame every ridiculous obstacle that you could ever experience.
And they were ridiculous.
Literally, they were the stupidest obstacles you could ever experience in building a business like this.
It did seem like the city only cared about us when it came to wrestling.
And this is a story we'll touch on here in a little bit.
Everybody else that followed us, whether it be in Springfield or one of these other surrounding areas, never had to bow down, cater to, suck off the city as much as we did.
Exactly.
I mean, when they came in, we had to have 2 handicap accessible bathrooms. We had to have 75 fire exits.
Yeah.
We had to have all this BS. And then everybody else that followed us, they could run a show in
an old paint store.
And have literally, and just, it was mind-boggling. But be that as it may, like Jason said, every obstacle we overcame and had that very first show, which is what we were trying to get to with the story.
For the record,
Yeah.
this is where the first November rain happened.
That is right. And capital
I was wearing a
punishment.
cone hat. Yeah, that's
And
capital
capital
punishment
punishment,
too. Because we knew people were coming out, so we're like, well, let's have a big show.
At Stockyard, right?
One of Springfield's longest running entertainment properties celebrates 10 years on Saturday, November 21st, when New Midwest Wrestling presents November Rain, the most action-packed, hard-hitting event of the year. Join Central Illinois' past, present, and future superstars at Lanphier High School on 11th and North Grand. For ticket information, go to newmidwest.com or call 816-2112, live November 21st at Lanphier High School.